posted on your instructor's Canvas, all right? So don't worry about notes unless you just want to. I kind of have a habit of note-taking, but you'll get most of this on Canvas. Good morning, good morning. All right, so, oh, I didn't put it on full thingy. So that is my email to be able to contact me. There we go. All right, and this is my campus schedule because we do have nurses and paramedics at South Shore and Plant City, so I go 1 day a week to those campuses as well. So Dale Mabry is, and that's wrong. Dale Mabry is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you may want to jot that down. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That is my office, D-Tech 319, so I'm right upstairs. I'm on this side of the hallway, like you guys, but I am the last office on the other side of the hall. Last office on the left when you come in from the elevators. All right, so D-Tech 319 here, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. Thursdays, I'm 7:30 to 4 now, because these hours changed. And Fridays, I'm noon to 6, all right? Plant City, I'm there on Tuesdays, and South Shore on Mondays. Again, if you need me to stay a little later, I'm here for you guys. So if you need me to stay a little bit later, I can do that. I just, please, if you would let me know at least by the day before. That way I could be honest with you, like if I have a doctor's appointment or something, an appointment, you know, a personal appointment or something, I could say, I'm sorry, I can't do that, but let's rearrange it. Or I can just not carpool with my husband on that day, and then I can stay late, but he just doesn't like being trapped at work, and we can all respect that. I do have a Twitter and Facebook account, so you can follow me on either of those. I just usually put some tips. I put something that I think of. One time I learned that NP4s have a project to do, nursing final semester has a project to do, and it has to be done in APA style. Well, I happen to know of a website that will put your APA style together for you. Bam. So that's something I posted on Facebook and Twitter. I'm like, hey guys, anybody have to do a paper? I need it in APA style. Here's how you do it. Go to this site. Bam. All right, so it's not just health science stuff. It can be general stuff to help you be successful in school. Google Calendar. Okay, now I'm just messing up because I went wrong. Okay, so here's your first why. 20 years working in Hillsborough County Schools. The first 6 consecutive years at 2 different schools, so that means 2 different types of students, 2 different what they call demographics, right? So 2 different types of students, 2 different socioeconomic situations. But either way, and both times with a different partner, because it was dropout prevention course, so there were 2 teachers in the room, an English teacher and a math teacher. I was English. So 2 different partners, but both times we had the school that I was at had the highest pass rate for GED, and back then it was called the HSCT and the FCAT. So we had the highest pass rate for the county. So then I went back to school and I got my master's in counseling because I found that that's mostly what the dropout prevention students needed. They didn't need to know where the comma went. They can get a book for that. But they needed help to get through the struggles that they were dealing with through high school. So then I went back into the classroom. So my last 4 years, 5 years actually, was teaching reading. And I taught students how to pass the FCAT and ACTs and SATs. When I did, my students scored higher than the other students in the same class at our school. They scored higher than the students in the district, that's the county, Hillsborough County, and they scored higher than they were statistically supposed to based on the state of Florida's predictions for 3 consecutive years. And so that got me the honor of high impact teacher for 2016 and 2017. So that put me in the top 19.5% out of the state of Florida. So, and here's the deal. It wasn't because I was a great reading teacher. Okay? It was because I stepped out of the box and I'm like, okay, these students have been taught to read for 8, 9, 10, or 11 years and they haven't reached that goal. So what is it? It's not their brain, or would they be in a special education class, right? They wouldn't be in my room. So it's not their intellect and their brain. What's going on? So I started researching. How does the brain work to learn better, to learn more, to remember more, to critically think better? Because critical thinking is a big part of reading for the ACT and SAT, right? So when I started doing that, my students started scoring higher. So that's the only thing I was doing different. I was doing the same curriculum as the other teachers, although I did do way more practice tests than the other teachers, and I think that made a big difference. So here we go again. I will post this, but this is everything I can do for you, right? So test anxiety is up there, time management, positive self-talk, critical thinking, procrastination, note-taking. Any of you, if you do have children, I had children all 3 times in college. At HCC, I had a 1-year-old when I started, and then we planned another baby around my graduation. So my last 2 semesters, I was quite pregnant. And then I took spring and summer off with a newborn and a 2-year-old. Off is a really funny word there, but I wasn't in school. So, and then started USF with a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old. Then when I went back for my master's, I was teaching full-time with a 4th grader and a 7th grader. So that's hockey games, soccer games, hockey practice, soccer practice, okay, band practice. Okay, so it can be done, all right? Now, did I do all that? No. Did I go to every soccer game or every soccer practice? Absolutely not. I couldn't. I had class or I had a paper to write. Was I soccer mom? No. Didn't have any time for that. Was I soccer mom after I graduated? Sure. Cut up those oranges, make the girl proud. I was soccer mom. All right? But so you've got to do what you can do when you're in school. You've got to know. That's very important. Know your limits and stand strong. Okay? Because this is your commitment right now. If I hadn't missed those hockey games and soccer games, I may not have been as successful in school, and then I wouldn't have finished that degree. Okay? So that's important. So since I've been here and researched more, I've come to put these 8 things together called the Magic 8, like that Magic 8 ball that I played with as a kid, right? So am I going to do good on this test? It's going to say yes if you do this. All right, so I color-coded it for you. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. All of the ones with yellow, they're going to help you study better without studying harder, without studying more. I can actually maybe even cut down some of your studying, but you will study better. The purple ones, so that's almost all of them, helps you focus and concentrate. The green ones, which look a lot like yellow, but they're here, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1. Memory, right? So you've studied all of that. You need to remember it, don't you? Blue, so this is the only one that will help with stress and anxiety. And then those of you that have things to learn from, if you've got terms to learn, or anything that would work well on a flashcard, you've got to see me. Because when you use spaced repetition to study flashcards, you will learn the material for 30+ years. That's a quote. I'm not making this up. The quote is, spaced repetition allows you to learn the material for 30+ years. End quote. Because you've actually learned it. You haven't memorized it. You're not going through every flashcard every night. In this situation, I'm studying Spanish with spaced repetition. I did 112 cards. I think the screenshot is up here. 112 cards in like 9 minutes. The other day I did like 156 cards in 12 minutes. Does that sound like saving me time? And I'm going to know these words for 30 years. Whoa. So if you've got stuff, terms that you need to know with flashcards, please, please, please ask me about spaced repetition. All right, so here's our partnership. You do the hard work. And I can help you with growth mindset, the right study techniques, and many other strategies. As students come to me and something different comes up, I say, I'll research that. And so then, boom, I've got another strategy, right? So please, even if you didn't see something on the list that could help you, please come to me anyway. My mom lives outside of the box, so I am very comfortable stepping outside of it, okay? So I will find a way to help you. A student came to me the other day, I just can't get organized, I don't know what to do, I've got these three syllabi, and it's great for each class, but when I get home, I need to know, I need it all on one. I said, send them all to me in an email attachment, I'll organize it and put it all in one for you. Really? I said, yeah, you don't have time for that. I can do that for you. All right? So, if there's anything, probably not babysitting or dog sitting, but if there's something that I could help you with here on campus, please don't hesitate to ask me. All right, so, spring semester was my first semester, my first full semester here. So at the end of spring, I sent out a survey monkey to about 100 students. About 50 replied back. So these are some of their responses. I'm going to just read the questions to you, and you can see, I'm going to flip through real quick. It's just 10 questions. So basically, these words on the side are going to change, but it's basically A, B, C, D, F. Okay? So, how helpful was Dawna in moving you toward a solution to your challenges? Not bad. I'd say that's at least a B+ average. How well did Dawna's strategies meet your needs? What strategy helped you most? So what I like about this one is it's all over the page, right? Because everybody's so different. We are each as individual as our fingerprints, right? So that's why different techniques will help different people. Okay? Other. So what's other? So I'll give you an example. I had worked with a student, a nursing student, and we did the Magic 8, and he came back a couple weeks later and he was like, it's not working, Miss Tapia. I don't know what's going on. Were you trying this? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Yes, 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 yes. All right, well, let's work on this. So I, get something else out, we work on that, and he tries that, and he comes back a couple weeks later and he goes, no, my grades aren't any better yet. So I talked to him a little bit more, and we spent some time just talking. How do you study? How do you do this? What's going on in life? And he did have a lot going on in life. Worked a full-time job, and also had, I think it was his mom that was sick, and she was living with him and his wife. So that's a lot going on. But still, we should be able to get our grades up, right? So anyway, in talking with him, it ends up that for relaxation, he likes to use those adult coloring books. Interestingly enough, I had just read something about how when we were kids and we doodled and got in trouble for doodling during a lecture, that research shows that we were actually learning more. The doodling relaxed us, opened up our brain, and so what we were listening to was sticking in there better. So I put those two things together and went bing, 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 and I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your coloring book to class, and I want you to color during lecture. If your instructor says something, have them contact me. Then I want you to record the lecture if you can, and I want you to go home and re-listen to it while you're coloring. Bam, he graduated. All right? So, it's what is going to help you and you and you. It's not a blanketed thing. The Magic 8 is all researched and they all help. But that doesn't mean they're going to be the best for you because we're all different. I'm not here to change your style. I like to highlight. You like to write things over and over and over and over? I'm not going to tell you you can't do that. You've got to highlight. No, that's how I study. You already know how to study. You've got your stuff down, or you wouldn't be in college already, right? So you've got your techniques that you know that work best for you. My job is just to get your brain to learn it with you, okay? So, some of the people, so I asked if you were not going to recommend Dawna, why not? So most of them would recommend me, all of them, basically, except this person. And it was anonymous, so I have no idea. I can probably guess, this was probably the guy working 2 jobs. And I know he was upset with me because his second job was doing something with pools. He had to draw out, like, I guess the shape of the pool for the size they wanted or something, I don't know. And I'm like, can't your wife do that? It's graph paper, that's simple. Well, I guess that was very insulting. So sometimes I have no filter. No, she can't do that. Well, you can't work 2 jobs and be successful. I'm sorry. I don't have a magic wand. So, so that's probably him. So overall, how would you rate your visit? Overall, how satisfied or dissatisfied are you with the success strategies? Wow. And here's some of the things they also said in comments, because I did have some where they could type in some stuff. So again, guys, I'm very honored that these are the words they used, but that's my goal. This is my goal. Come on in. All right, so here are some more comments. I do want to draw your attention to the green one. I would push students to see her sooner, especially in the nursing program. We knew of her, but would forget about our resources due to the demands of the course. So we're too busy, right? I got a visual for you. All right, so this is me. Don't be these two. Okay, there is no reason for you to be working harder and struggling when I have some better tools. Because I've researched it, not because I'm smarter, because that's where I have decided to spend my learning right now. Okay? All right, and some of you, you just don't need help. You don't like help, you don't want help, you don't like asking for help. You might want some help, but you're never gonna ask for it. So I have a story for you. So this young man, this little boy, and his dad were out in the park, and the dad went to move some rocks. And the little boy says, Dad, think I can move a rock? And the dad says, absolutely you can move that rock. But you've got to use all your strength. The little boy said, okay. So the little boy, you see him there, he's pushing and pushing and pushing. It's not going anywhere. And he's like, okay, all my strength, all my strength. Nothing. He goes up to the dad and he says, Dad, you were wrong. I couldn't do it. I used all my strength. But the dad put his arm around him and said, no, honey, I wasn't wrong. You didn't use all your strength because you never asked me for help. All right, so it's kind of like, when we say it takes a bigger man to walk away from a fight. Same thing, it takes a bigger man, a bigger person to ask for help. To acknowledge a weakness and ask for help is really a strength. All right, so with me, you will triumph. You do the try, I'm that little umph, and you've got this, okay? But I do want to say one more thing about trying. Right now, if you would, indulge me, try to stand up. Interesting. So some are sitting, some are sitting. But you're standing. I just wanted you to try to stand up. Have a seat. Try to stand up. No, you're standing again. All right, so you get my point? There is no try. We're either doing it or we're not. What does try look like? So I don't want to hear you say try anymore, right? You're going to do it. You will do it. You might need help to do it. You will ask questions to be able to do it. But there is no more try unless you're going to mix with me and triumph, okay? So lastly, you'll never be given a dream without being given the power to make it come true, and the dean gave you me, right? So I can help your dream come true. Do you have any questions?
Slides so I can write down some of the information?
Absolutely. Again, I'm going to post this. This one.
Yes.
Okay, but it's wrong, remember. So I am at Del Mabry Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday, 7:30 to 3:30. It might be. Ta-da, this one's correct. There we go. So Wednesday, 7:30 to 3:30. Thursday, 7:30 to 4:30. Fridays, noon, 6. Oh, this is a good one. When I'm at Plant City and South Shore, I don't have a phone. I have access to a phone if I need to call you guys, but I don't have a phone at my desk. There's no number you can reach me at. I don't want you calling me on Friday and leaving a message that maybe I don't get, and then I'm off campus Monday and Tuesday. I don't call you back on Wednesday. That's bad business. That is not how. I always have all of my phone messages returned and all of my emails returned before I leave the office. That's how a principal trained me. That's how I like it. That's what I do. So, in this case, I would really like you to email me because I have my laptop with me constantly. It is on continuously, unless I'm with a student or out of my office like I am right now. So anyone that's emailing me right now, it's going to be an hour before I get back with them. But when I'm in my office, I have a notification set on my email. So when it goes bing, I flip over to it and I answer you, okay? Again, my email, dtapia2, like peace, and that's same as your professors, hccfl.edu, Twitter and Facebook. This might have the, is everybody good? Before I switch? Awesome. This might have the Google Maps on it. Oh, okay, well, do I have more time?
Yeah.
Awesome. So let me show you this. I can reduce a 4-hour study session into 65 minutes and double your learning. Sound good? Very simple. So this is how you've been studying, the purple. So this was actually researched about 100 years ago. It's called the Pomodoro technique. But University of Michigan researched it, or re-researched it, more recently. So our brain actually only studies for 30 minutes with us. It only concentrates for 30 minutes. So this graph is only an hour and a half long. So you've studied for an hour and a half, this is what you've been doing, and your brain leaves, and you're still studying. Beep. I mean, you're not nursing, but you know that sound, right? Okay. So you've just wasted an hour, because you really only learned 30 minutes. All you got was tired, sore eyes, very frustrated, so frustrated that you might catch yourself saying things like, this is crazy, I never should have done this, maybe I need to drop out, maybe this just isn't for me. I hate this. That's normal to feel that way. Once in a while. Call me when you do. But you've got to get through that. That's just a wall, but we got to get over or around or through, and this is one way to do one of those. So what you're going to do now, what they found is as small as a 5-minute break, 5 minutes, that's it. And your brain comes back. So now you're going to study, this gray person studies, and the brain is there for 30 minutes. They take a 5-minute break. Now they come back, their brain's with them again. They learn 30 minutes more. They take a break, their brain comes back. They learn 30 minutes more, and in an hour and a half, they've got 90 minutes worth of learning done instead of 30 minutes worth of learning done in the same amount of time. So I had a student in my office the other day, and I said, so have you been doing the 30 minutes on, 5 minutes off? She goes, no. I said, what? That's like one of the key things. Why not? There is just so much to study. I can't take that many breaks. I can't waste the time like that. I said, All right, so let me see if I understand this correctly. You can't waste this 10 minutes to get 90 minutes of learning, but you're willing to waste an hour. And she goes, no. And I said, and she goes, okay. All right, so sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees, right? Sometimes you can't see the the picture if you're in the frame, right? Yes, ma'am.
For like a 5-minute break.
Something for you. Okay? So start thinking of things that you could do on a 5-minute break. So for example, I knit and I crochet. Knitting is not a 5-minute break because you got to get through the whole row. You can't stop that. So if my buzzer rings in 5 minutes, I'd be like, this is the number one thing my family hates to hear. Okay, as soon as I finish this row. They're going like this. But crocheting, you can start and stop anytime. So blah, 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 buzzer goes, put it down, I can go back to studying. So that would be something very relaxing for me. Adult coloring. Okay, I love to color. I've got the adult books. Yeah.
What about like cleaning?
Sure, you like that? I don't. See,
I
that's
can't
torture.
stand a messy house. And my
Perfect.
son was like,
Yeah.
but so like it distracts me though. I
Girl,
was so much of studying, I
clean.
started worrying about that. And so I could like stop
Yeah.
and clean and then.
Yes, absolutely.
Study at my house too.
Yeah, right. I'm inviting you over. Yeah,
I like studying.
yeah, absolutely. Whatever you enjoy, whatever is going to bring you peace, because that's your break. You deserved it. You just studied really hard for 30 minutes, right? I do encourage you to set a buzzer, because if it's something like I want to surf Facebook, or I'm just going to put this one Netflix show on. We know how that works, right? So set a timer so that you only do the 5 minutes. Laughter is the best medicine. So maybe a 5-minute break. Maybe you could watch one YouTube of a clip from a Friends episode. That'd be something I would like to do. And just Ross. Pivot! Anyway. So anything you want to do, start thinking of what you could do in 5 minutes. If you don't know of anything, I've got some 5-minute ideas. Okay? So if you can't get into studying, it could be you're getting distracted. How many people have random thoughts come through their head when you're studying? Okay, so I've got a solution for that. So you take a Post-it note and you put it by your writing hand. So if you're I'm going to put mine over here because I'm right-handed. So I'm studying and I think to myself, there's laundry in the washing machine. It's going to get stinky. It needs to get in the dryer, right? Now, if I don't jump up and do that, my brain's going to argue with me. Come on, Dawna, focus. Focus. You can get that later. Nope, you'll forget again. It's going to get stinky. You're going to waste your time. You're going to have to rewash it. No, you've got this. Dawna, just holler out to somebody to throw it in the dryer. No, because they won't do it. Am I studying right now? Okay, no. So here's what you do. You got your Post-it note, you get the same thought, you go over here, you write laundry, bam, and you come back and focus. And what this does is it convinces you and your brain that you'll get that done because you wrote it down. You're not going to forget it, are you? And you're now using the 30 minutes on, 5 minutes off. So in less than 30 minutes, because if I had that thought as soon as I started studying, it'll be 30 minutes. But if I had that thought 10 minutes in 20 minutes, I can take care of the laundry. No laundry got stinky in 20 minutes. Nobody ever died waiting 20 minutes. Okay? So, maybe if you waited too long for some medication. So maybe that was an exaggeration. But anyway. So, usually, nobody dies in 20 minutes. So, then what you do is every random thought. So maybe later I'm going, did we put the pizza away? I think we did. Maybe not. You need to check. No, I'm studying. No, because last time you thought we did it and we didn't, and you threw away half a pizza. Again, am I studying? No. So you come over here, you write pizza, or whatever you had for dinner that night, or just write dinner, or just write food. Okay? On your break, you can toss the laundry into the dryer, go into the kitchen, check to see if the pizza's put away. If it has not been put away, here's how you put it away. You close the box, you move everything in the refrigerator, and you shove the box in. All right? You don't count them out, 3 slices each, put it in a Ziploc or roll it in some foil, and then put it in the no. Because your goal is studying. Someone in the family can divide that up and roll it in foil. Okay? But the pizza's away, so nobody dies from bad pizza. Okay? So, the other thing you do with the Post-it notes is you keep them for about a week or 2. And you may find a pattern. So what if 3 times a week I'm writing food on my Post-it note? All I have to do, now that I know this, now that I'm consciously aware that this is a pattern, I will what? Before I start studying, I'm going to check the kitchen counter. Is food put away? Okay, good, yeah. Now I've eliminated a distractor from my studying forever because I noticed a pattern, okay? Maybe a pattern that I would have right now is, did I call mom back? All right, so maybe I should call mom before I start studying. Mom, I'm about to get studying. Just wanted to check in. How you doing? How was your day? All right, maybe we can talk longer tomorrow. Bam, now I'm studying. Now that's not going to be a distractor, right? Okay, so post-it note. Again, post-it note, the 30 minutes on, 5 minutes off, those are 2 of the magic 8. See how good they are? Okay, so go look up the other 6. Brain Gym is one of them. There's a link to an exercise video that has proven to link our 2 hemispheres and actually have them talk to each other. You grow dendrites, you fire neurons, just from doing these simple exercises. About 6 to 15 minutes a day. You will read faster, you will comprehend more, you will make less errors, it will lower your stress and anxiety, it will increase your focus and attention, it will increase your memory. Sounds like magic, okay? But when you have your whole brain working together, instead of just the left side or just the right side, it is magical, okay? So that link will be on there. Any questions at this point? Yes, ma'am.
Can you touch on the spaced repetition?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, and there was,
I was just gonna say, you were gonna post this up, what, on Canvas, or are
Yes.
you gonna get it and post it, Thomas?
yeah, I will send to all of the competition
So,
instructors.
and then the links we can just find on there?
Absolutely. Now, it's not everything, so if you find something on there and it looks like it should be a link and it's not, that means I have it in my office somewhere and haven't uploaded it. So, yeah, don't call, email me, hey, I couldn't find the link to blank. And then I can either send it to you email, we can talk, whatever. Yes?
And then to like make appointments with you, you should email you.
Email me. I do have a Google Calendar. That link, I think, is on what I'm going to give you. I'll double check. But you can go on there and you can look, and it will show you so like right now it says class presentation. 9:30, I've got another presentation. 12 o'clock, I've got a student. Here's the deal. Your time with me is confidential. I used to be a guidance counselor, right? So I am very big on confidentiality. It's not my business to tell anybody that you've been to me, unless an instructor asks. That's a business reason, right? So on my Google Calendar, it just says student. On my personal calendar, I'll put your name. But on Google, it'll just say student or student time or student appointment, right? So you can look at that. It'll remind you again what campus I'm on and what times I'm there. And you can just say, email me and say, hey, I saw that Thursday at 2 is open. Could I have that time slot, please? Bam, absolutely. Okay? And then you had a question?
Yeah, my question was just, the times that you have to meet you, I don't think everybody is able to meet you at those times
Okay.
because of work or whatever.
Okay.
So is it easier to get in touch with you through email and discuss things like that?
Absolutely. Are some of you long distance?
A lot of us.
Okay. Okay, so here's the deal. For opticianry, guess what I got? Skype. So if you can Skype me. I've already Skyped with a student. It worked wonderfully. I'm pretty good at it because my daughter lives in Wisconsin, my daughter and son-in-law, so we Skype like at Christmas and stuff like that, and we'll Skype on a weekend morning and we all have our coffee together. We'll Skype on an evening and we all have our beer together. You know, the 2 of them and my husband and I. It's great. So it's a great way to work with you, to see you, to feel like you're right there, but you're where you need to be and I'm where I need to be. So absolutely. Skype me, email me. Some students I've sent attachments in email and then we've just talked on the phone because they couldn't, you know, they didn't have Skype or couldn't Skype or whatever. So it's like, okay, so, you know, let's walk through this. What questions do you have on this paper that I sent? Blah, 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 blah. Okay? Absolutely. So I'm going to get back to spaced repetition. Anything else? Okay, spaced repetition is a long one. And I'm not sure. Oh, that was good for you.
What was that no sugar?
Yeah, okay. when you eat too much sugar, you have a sugar crash. So don't eat the sugar box, the sugar box. Ooh, 40 and stuff. So the cereal box will say that a healthy breakfast is a bowl of cereal with a glass of juice and some toast, right? Yeah, you guys all, don't you read the cereal box while you're eating?
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, so I used to anyway. So I don't know if they say that anymore. But here's the deal, they lied. They lied because they want you addicted to sugar so you keep buying their box. All right, so the cereal has sugar, the milk has sugar, the juice has sugar, the toast is carbs, which is going to turn into sugar. And what do you put on toast? Oh, sugar. And you're going to crash during the test and you're going to wonder why. All right, so you've got to get some protein in there, all right? You vegetarian people, you've got protein somehow or you'd be dead. So figure out where you get it from. Figure out where you get it from and do that before a test. But here's the deal. As the sugar is crashing, the protein takes longer to build in our system. So if you take them together, as the sugar is crashing, your protein's building, and you never hit that crash. Your brain stays up there with functioning, all right? So here's the deal. This has been proven that this is what happens to you and I, to everyone, when we have a sugar crash during a test. Blurry vision, unclear thinking, fatigue, nervousness, confusion, irritability, increased appetite, and irrationality. None of that sounds like it's a good place for a test, right? So why would you do that to yourself? Why do you study so hard, give up personal things, time with family, time cleaning, time riding your bike? I have a student that once she came to me for time management and started doing some of these things, she came back and she goes, oh my gosh, Dawna, I'm riding my bike again. I love it. Okay? So you're giving those things up and then you're going to do this to yourself because you didn't eat a healthy breakfast? That is just shoot your foot and then go for a race. How come I'm not winning? All right, so you gotta work on that. All right, so what are foods that will do the opposite of all that? Oh, that will do all that. That'll do the opposite of the sugar crash. Bananas. Bananas actually have natural beta blockers, so beta blockers are actually put in medications to treat people with anxiety. So eat a banana. Relieves stress, stabilizes your blood sugar so you won't have that crash. Boosts thinking, creates alertness. That sounds like stuff I want during a test. Apples do the same thing. That sounds like stuff I want during a test. One study showed students who ate apples at lunch scored 7 points higher in the afternoon. 7 points. When you negative self-talk, that can affect your test up to 12 percentage points. So if you see me for positive self-talk and you eat apples, that's 19 points, I think. What's 12 and 7? All right? So foods, nuts that'll help you are walnuts, pistachios, almonds, and hazelnuts. And guys, when I do this research, I'm following it. So I now buy walnuts and almonds, I mix them together, and then put them back into 2 bags all mixed. So I have, hopefully, faster processing, lower anxiety, improved memory, enhanced problem-solving skills, and increased attention. Because that's what I wanted out of all of those. So I thought, I'll just mix some walnuts and almonds together. Walnuts are not my absolute favorite, but they actually do lower cholesterol as well, which I'm getting yelled at from my doctor, so that's why walnuts are there. But that doesn't help me pass the test. All right, so brain gym. Here's the brain gym and everything good it does. Okay, see, you know, I've got so much to share. But spaced repetition. Let's see, spaced repetition. All right, so first of all, you want to make your own flashcards because making the flashcard is the best thing. So here's where I got spaced repetition from. These 2 books that the College Info Geek read and translated for me. And if you have not watched College Info Geek, he's amazing. He's got a lot of good success techniques, not just for studying, but also just to be a successful student or business person. He's amazing. And to be honest, I just like to watch him. And my husband knows We can look. All right, so higher mental function. To learn stuff, it needs to be spaced out. This is what they found. They found that when we actually start to forget something, if you ever, like, somebody asks you a question, you're like, oh, I don't know, and you think a little bit harder, and you reach down there and you pulled it up, oh yeah, it's so-and-so. You just committed that to more memory for you. So forgetting is actually part of learning, okay? And the bottom in red is important. New learning drives out old learning when insufficient time intervenes. So you just learned all these flashcards and you put them over there, but you didn't wait, because the space in spaced repetition is time. You're spacing them out. So you don't wait and you go for some new cards. Well, now you're going to memorize the new cards, but you're going to forget those to fill in the blanks, right? But if you space it out, then it gets, you actually learn it. So some amount of breakdown must occur without a little forgetting. You get no benefit from further study. The most powerful method for remembering what you learn is spaced repetition. So here's how it goes. This guy, Ebbinghaus, studied how our brain forgets, and that's the curve of forgetfulness. All of our brains, every single one of us, every brain forgets the same way. So here's the deal. Here we are right now, we all understand each other. Or that's you in lecture. You understand absolutely everything. Instructor's asking questions, you've got the answers. Your classmate has an answer, fire, and you know everything. Check this out, what happens in 19 minutes after class ends. 19 minutes after walking out that door, you're down to less than 60% of retention. 19 minutes. So it's imperative that you review your notes. How many of you have gotten home and looked at your notes, or maybe not looked at them until the next day, and you're like, okay, who wrote these notes for me? Because I have no idea. Why did I circle these two words and put an arrow together with them? I don't know. That's why it's the 19-minute effect. Or if you waited till the next day, you're down here. Look, one day later, 30-something, 33% is all you remember after understanding completely everything that's gone on in here. All right? So that's what he found. So then he said, oh, here's my Anki, 91 cards in 9 minutes. You got 9 minutes, right? Bam. All right, so then he said, I wonder what happens if I space these things out, because he noticed in the graph that it dropped in increments, like 1 day, and then 48 hours, and then a week later, and then a month later, and the graph just kept dropping, right? So he took 24 random syllables, 12 for one, study 12 for the other, and he just went through them, like how we've been taught to do flashcards, right? You just go through them and go through them and go through them and go through them until you're dead. So the first day he did 68 repetitions. The second day he did 7 more repetitions, and finally he knew them all. So that totals 75 repetitions. But when he spaced it out over 3 days, it was only 38 repetitions. So if it takes, just for easy math, please, 1 minute per card, you've saved half the time. You've just done 38 minutes instead of 75 minutes to learn the same thing, right? So this is how to overcome the curve. They want you to review immediately after class, 24 hours later, a week later or sooner, and a month later or sooner. All right? So then, this guy Leitner, in the 70s, why weren't we taught it? Just saying. In the 70s, he came up with this. So he went from that curve, and he came up with these boxes. So each box, see that day 1, 48 hours, day 3, a week later, day 7, 2 weeks later, and a month later. So that's how he separated these boxes. Do not get excited, ladies. You're not buying shoes. Because I figured out, a college geek told me the way to do it without boxes. Okay? All right, so all these red days, you're not studying those boxes. What? Yep. All right. So you start off with 1 set of cards. You're going to set the buzzer for 30 minutes. You're going to go through them as fast as you can. It's not a study session. It's a review. So if I look at a card and its colors and I go, blue. Okay, I got it right. Okay, ooh, oh, I don't know this one. So normally with, come on in, hon. Normally with flashcards, we'd be like, okay, I know this, I know this, I know this. It's green. Oh, darn it. You just wasted time. You think I went through 96 cards in 9 minutes doing that? You either know it or you don't. Green, red, oops. All right, so know it and it goes, I'm sorry, to your right. You don't know it and it stays in box 1. So your first night, you're gonna create box 2 with all the ones that you know. With me so far? All right, so every time, no matter what box you're in, every time you get one right, the first time it creates that box, the next time it just goes into it, right? But no matter what box you're in, if you get it wrong, it goes all the way back here. Okay? So that you repeat that spacing again. So this is what College Info Geek came up with. He's like, no boxes. We're just going to separate our actual index cards and put Post-it notes on that say box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4, box 5. And then he has another Post-it note that says when you do them. So this one, box 1 is every day, box 2 is every other day, this is once a week, this is bi-weekly, this is when Dawna got confused. I'm like, okay, this is way too much, this has to be simplified. So, I came up with this. So here's a picture of my cards, and I lay them out like this, right? So what I do is I put the box 1 and the everyday on one Post-it note instead of having 2, right? I also, on box 2, 3, 4, and 5, I stick the Post-it note out like a tab so that when I've got them all together like this, all clipped together, that I can very easily slip my thumb in there and unclip, slip my thumb under that box 2, and all of my box 1 is right here, isn't it? So when I'm at Wendy's and I'm waiting on that salad to be made, I can just do my box 1 right there. If I did 96 cards in 3 minutes or whatever it was, can you do, 30 cards by the time they've made your hamburger wrong and you have to go up and have them redo it? Just saying. All right, so then what's great about this is they're travel worthy, right? They're in your book bag, they're in your purse. So you can do box 1, it only has to be done once a day, right? So you can do it anywhere you want, and then you don't have to do box 1 that night when you get home. Bam. All right, so whatever day you start, so on this day, on this particular calendar, let's say we started on the 3rd, right? So here we are, box 1. On that day, it created our box 2, but on the next day, what are we gonna do? You're gonna do box 1 again. Box 1 is every day. Yeah.
Wait, box 1 is the ones that we didn't get right?
Correct.
Okay.
Box 1 is every day. So on day 2, you're only gonna redo box 1, which is you're gonna get some more right. So that's gonna build your box 2, right? Okay, day 3 is when you start box 2. Now, here's where I got simple, because I know my brain, if I looked at every other, I'd go, oh God, did I do that last night or not? It was there, right? So, that every other stuff did not fly with me. So what I do here is, if I'm starting box 3 on the 5th, and box 3 is, box 2, I'm sorry, day 3, is done every other day, then what's it gonna land on? 7, 9, 11, 13, ooh, odd days. All I put on that Post-it note. Box 2, odd. Yours might say even there. Then, 4 days later, because you start the next box on day 7. So here's day 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when you do this, the ones you get right are gonna go into box 3. So that will create your box 3, correct? Then on the 7th, you're gonna do it again, and you'll put more into box 3, right? So when you get to box 3 on day 7, which is only 4 days from here, so see, first you spaced it 48 hours, then you spaced it 48 times 2. Yeah, okay, that one. So when you do this one, now day 7 is done what? Once a week. And day 7 lands on a Sunday. What's that mean? It's always going to be a Sunday on this calendar. Okay, right? So what do I put on my box 3? Sunday. Every Sunday, I'm going to do that box. Now, you're going to get some days that double up because Sunday is an odd day, right? So this Sunday is gonna be a killer. You're gonna do your box 3 for the first time. Plus it's an odd day, so you're gonna redo box 2. Plus you do box 1 when? Every day. So you're gonna do 3 boxes that day, and that will create your 4th box. That's just randomly how this happened. I don't know that it always falls like that. Okay? I haven't like set this down with 400 calendars to get an idea. All right, so box 4 is done on day 15. So this is 7, this is 14, this is 15. Here's where it gets wonky because it's every other week. So all I do on this is I put the dates. So I put August 17th, August 31st. Okay? And after August 31st, if I still have a box 4, I can either make a new post-it or I can scratch those out and put September whatever. Right? And then the last one is only once a month. So the fact that I started on the 3rd, I just went ahead and dated that September 1st. Okay? So if you get it right, it goes in the next box. If you get it wrong, it goes all the way back to box 1. And you're just following this. Every day, odd days, Sunday, these dates, end of the month. The end. Yeah.
So if you get them all right, you eliminate box 1.
Yes.
And then you just follow the every other day or the whatever it is.
Right,
and
but you may not have learned something very strong, and maybe what if by day 7 you get one wrong? That's going to go back to box 1.
Right.
So
okay.
you may still have a box 1, plus you may learn more terms or more whatever it is you're putting on the flashcards. You can always sneak them back into box 1. You can keep it going. It can just, information in further. Okay? Yes.
So when does it stop? Does it stop like?
Well, so like the once a month. So it doesn't really stop. So because the terms that you learned here, when you review it once a month, if you get it wrong, it goes back to box 1. But if you get it right, it can stay in this box and you'll review it next month. So you're only going to review once a month. Okay? This is the beauty of it. You won't have to be reviewing these for your tests, for a midterm, or for a final, or for certification or boards, whatever you do. Right? Because you will have actually learned it. Okay? Now, do you have times where you have lecture and then a week later you got the test on these things? Yeah? Okay, so I do have a modification for that. So here's the modification. Clearly, if you get information here and you've got your test on day 7, these 2 boxes are obsolete, right? So what we can do is this box, we're going to do exactly the same. You're going to start it that night. As soon as you come home with that information, you're going to start that box. Make your credit cards. Make your flashcards and then practice, right? All right. So then on your box 2, you're going to start it on day 2 instead of day 3. But you're still going to do it every other day. Box 3, you're going to start on day 3, not day 7, and you're going to do it every 3rd day. And so this is what happens. Box 1, you will see up to 6 times before day 7. Box 2, you'll see 3 times. Box 3, you'll see twice. All before day 7 when you have the test. All right? So hopefully they're all here or they've moved here. That's great. You want them, best case scenario, you want them here, then you ace the test. This material you'll see in 2 weeks, and you put your new stuff in, because you just had a test, right? So now you've got more terms. So you put your new stuff in for box 1 again. So you keep putting new material in, it keeps drifting through here, and at the end, you're ready. You know all those terms for exams. Okay? Yes.
So, given that we have like different classes, different courses and topics, do you recommend that we keep like, for example, we would keep contacts together and then like, I don't know, our lab together, or mix them all together since it's all opticianry, or?
Good question. Did everybody hear her? No. Okay. Did I hear no? You didn't hear?
No, yeah, I did.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so, so, great question. I don't know the answer to that. Here's what I would assume. You have to know all of these things in your head anyway. You can't compartmentalize them. So why not study them together?
I mean, it all kind of falls together anyway, but I was just wondering.
And I think it will increase your memory, because like I've noticed like with the Spanish, when it was all colors, then like they mix them in. It's some colors, it's some, but when they put in a load of cards and it's mostly animals, then it kind of clues me in, this is animals, and I might get it right when maybe on a test I wouldn't because it's not in that same animal organization. Got it? So I would mix them. Any other questions? Just checking. I can't see you with it. All right. So that is spaced repetition. It's difficult. I like to, when I'm in my office, I take those cards and I actually do them with you, and then we make the Post-it notes together, and then you get to keep the Post-it notes. All right. So but I think I did an okay job on this.